Hello, I'm Gwen Creedy. I'm a board member of Allies for Health and Wellbeing. If you're familiar at all with the Pittsburgh AIDS Task Force and Allies for Health and Wellbeing, it's safe to assume that you know Alan Jones. Alan started at PATF in 1990 as a volunteer with the Speakers Bureau before joining the staff as a case manager in 1991. During his nearly 31 years at the organization, he coordinated care for clients living with HIV, worked in HIV prevention and testing, outreach, and safer sex education. He was the longest-serving staff member of PATF and Allies before his retirement in 2022. Thank you for joining us, Alan. You started as a volunteer for PATF in 1990. What do you remember most from those early days at PATF?
I think what sticks in my mind is lack of education and empathy in the community. And I think, when I think back at that time, how if you even told people you volunteered there or worked there, people would be slightly alarmed. You know, people still didn't know what was happening. And I think when I went to the task force in 91, what I always remember so well was our budget was, we were very grassroots, our budget was horrible. I had a coworker who used a folding table as a desk. And volunteers used to bring things in, sometimes like paper towel or printing paper, just so it'd be one less thing we would have to buy. When I started, my caseload literally was 102 patients. They all had AIDS. They were all dying on one level or another. I felt overwhelmed.
I'm sure.
I never got my work done. No matter how busy I was during the day, it was a very hard time.
I can imagine.
And our resources were really bad. I tell this story. Most of our clients would die before they would get the first disability check. The paperwork took so long to do, and the processing in Washington was so delayed. And a lot of my clients would even get prescriptions for meds, and we wouldn't even have resources to get them the meds. AZT was the big drug at that time. And I remember this, I would have clients come in with prescriptions. There was no way of filling them. No one had the money to do it. And a lot of my clients, because they were dying, I can remember I used to sit at my desk when I'd be talking to people, and I would take razor blades, and I would cut the labels off of medicine bottles. Of course, I wasn't a pharmacist, so I really wasn't legally allowed to pass these meds on. I used to leave them on the windowsill. And I'd make it very clear to my client that there was AZT over there on the windowsill, and I would leave the office, and they would take it. And of course, this was all illegal. And one of my cohorts, she was actually taken to court over this. I was making dinner one night, and I still remember, she was a nun, actually, a real nun. And it showed her coming out of the courthouse up in Erie, and she's the one who gave me some tidbits how to do this. Or we would report people's deaths sometimes just until they're insured, things had been delivered, so that we could pass it on to living clients. So it was quite a struggle in those days, I have to be honest.
You told me that you lost 160 clients. I can't imagine the sorrow. How does that change a person?
I know one thing I have learned. One of my clients said to me once, he said, "I'll be gone soon, but you need to live for me." And I've often thought, when I get upset about something, or when I hear people complain because the paint didn't come out right in their bedroom, or the sweater wasn't what they ordered, I think maybe we need to refocus on what's really important in life. And maybe your daughter married somebody of a different religion or race that you didn't approve of. Well, it's not the end of the world. Maybe we really need to refocus on what is important.
That's, yes. Is there a particular person or people that you would like to remember here tonight?
I would like to share just a couple of stories. One was, this tells you about the political climate and everything at the time. I got a client, and he was in rural Washington County. And he'd come back from a city. His mother was taking care of him at home. She was a waitress. She called me on the phone. I was coming to do my first home visit tomorrow. And she said, Alan, can I ask you something? She said, does your car say Pittsburgh AIDS Task Force on it? I said, no, actually, it's my own car. They reimbursed me for gas. And she said, oh, thank God. She said, my boss found out, he had heard rumors that her son had AIDS. And she said, he said to me today, does your son have AIDS? And she said, of course I lied and said, no, he has cancer. And he said, well, it's a good thing, because if he did, you'd be out of a job. And the tragedy of this was she actually rented her little house from her boss. So only because he was afraid in food preparation, people wouldn't come to his restaurant if they thought she was taking care of her son with AIDS and touching food. Another thing is, I always remember I was visiting a client, and he was horribly underweight, very weak, and we were sitting in the living room with his mother, and I saw all these 8x10 pictures of him in various drag outfits. And he said, my mother made all these dresses. Aww. And I saw this little lady sitting there, and she didn't know if she should be embarrassed or proud. And I remember saying, those are wonderful. But I got such a chuckle later because she was so happy. I will tell you this, though. After he died, I called to check on her one day, and she said, people made fun of my son being gay and being a drag queen. She said, but since he died, it's been his friends that have been taking me to the store and doing things for me. One other little thing, I used to feel, I used to think people who were school teachers got to see their children do something. I'm on the other end of the life. And I remember one of my clients, when he died, his partner said how important my work was because I helped his partner on his journey home. So I used to like to refocus. We all have to come into this world and we all have to leave it. But I used to find some comfort in the fact that we were able to do this. They mentioned Brewer's Hotel, and I just have to talk to you about people. Brewers rented rooms by the week for $45 a week. The place was a dive. Linoleum floors, and everybody shared a bathroom at the end of the hall. But I remember I had a handful of clients who lived there because they were on limited budgets. And I used to call over there. The person at the bar would yell upstairs when they would have a medical appointment. And I just thought, talk about comradeship, they would actually get guys from the bar to take, during the day, an office chair upstairs and put my client in it, tilt the chair back, and carry him down 2 flights of steps to get into a taxi cab so he could go to the doctor. So I always said there were good people in this world.
There are, and you're certainly one of them. Thank you very much.